Warning: his video contains details of real crime cases, including sensitive topics and triggers related to violent crimes. Watch with caution. If you're a fan of true crime investigations and want to follow more stories like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any case. In the serene town of Oak Ridge, nestled in the heart of New England, a shocking murder shattered the facade of suburban tranquility. The brutal killing of Cassandra Hawthorne sent ripples through a community that prided itself on its picturesque streets and tight-knit neighborhoods. What seemed like an idyllic slice of American life was about to reveal its dark underbelly, exposing a tale of passion and betrayal that would forever change the lives of two couples. Oak Ridge, with its colonial-style homes and tree-lined avenues, embodied the quintessential American dream. It was the kind of place where 4th of July parades drew the entire town, and everyone knew their neighbors' names. Yet, behind the perfectly manicured lawns and white picket fences, dangerous secrets were brewing. At the center of this unfolding drama were two couples whose lives had become intricately intertwined. Ethan Blackwood, a distinguished architect known for his innovative designs and charismatic personality, seemed to have it all. His wife, Olivia, was a beloved elementary school teacher, admired for her dedication to her students and involvement in community affairs. Their friends, Wesley Hawthorne, a successful financial advisor with a growing client list, and his wife Cassandra, a talented artist, completed what appeared to be a picture-perfect social circle. The Blackwoods and the Hawthornes were more than just neighbors. They were confidants, vacation partners, and the hosts of legendary neighborhood barbecues. Their friendship was the envy of Oak Ridge, with many viewing them as the epitome of successful, modern couples balancing careers and social lives with apparent ease. However, beneath the surface of dinner parties and shared holidays lay a provocative arrangement that would ultimately lead to tragedy. The two couples had entered into a consensual partner-swapping agreement, a secret that added an unexpected thrill to their otherwise conventional lives. What began as an exciting exploration of boundaries soon became a regular part of their routine, deepening the connections between them in ways they had never anticipated. As the seasons changed in Oak Ridge, so did the dynamics within this complex quartet. Ethan Blackwood's initial curiosity about Cassandra Hawthorne blossomed into a full-blown obsession. Her artistic temperament and free spirit awakened something in him that he hadn't realized was dormant. Cassandra, initially flattered by the attention, soon found herself overwhelmed by Ethan's intensifying feelings. The once exciting encounters became fraught with tension as Ethan's possessiveness grew. Cassandra, sensing the dangerous turn their arrangement had taken, made the fateful decision to end the agreement. She hoped that by cutting off their extracurricular activities, life could return to normal and the friendships could be salvaged. Little did Cassandra know that her decision would set in motion a chain of events that would end in bloodshed. Ethan, unable to accept the loss of what he had come to view as a vital part of his life, began to unravel. His work suffered, his behavior became erratic, and the charming architect that Oak Ridge had known was replaced by a man consumed by jealousy and desperation. As autumn painted Oak Ridge in hues of red and gold, the idyllic town was blissfully unaware of the storm brewing within its borders. The stage was set for a tragedy that would expose the fragile nature of their seemingly perfect lives and force the community to confront the darkness that can lurk behind even the most respectable facades. The story of Ethan, Olivia, Wesley, and Cassandra serves as a stark reminder that even in the most picture-perfect settings, human desires and weaknesses can lead to devastating consequences. Oak Ridge would soon learn that no amount of manicured perfection could prevent the eruption of passion and violence that was about to unfold in their quiet New England haven. On the night of October 15th, the quiet streets of Oak Ridge were shattered by a crime that would haunt the community for years to come. As autumn leaves rustled in the cool breeze, a more sinister sound echoed through the Hawthorne residence, the desperate struggle of Cassandra Hawthorne fighting for her life. Earlier that evening, Wesley Hawthorne had departed for a financial conference in Chicago, leaving Cassandra alone in their spacious colonial home. What should have been a peaceful night turned into a nightmare when Ethan Blackwood, driven by an obsession that had spiraled out of control, made the fateful decision to confront Cassandra. Eyewitness accounts from neighbors reported seeing Ethan's silver SUV parked a block away from the Hawthorne residence around 9:30 p.m. Security camera footage from a nearby home captured a figure matching Ethan's description approaching the house, his gait purposeful and determined. Inside, the scene quickly escalated from a tense conversation to a violent altercation. Forensic evidence later revealed that Cassandra had attempted to flee, knocking over a vase in the process. The shattered porcelain, mixed with droplets of blood, created a trail from the living room to the kitchen, where the final, brutal act took place. Medical examiner reports indicated that Cassandra suffered multiple stab wounds, primarily to her torso and arms, suggesting a frenzied attack. The murder weapon, a kitchen knife from the Blackwood's own home, was found discarded in a storm drain 2 blocks away, its handle wiped clean, but its blade still bearing traces of the victim's DNA. In the immediate aftermath, Ethan returned home, visibly shaken and covered in blood. It was at this moment that Olivia Blackwood was confronted with the horrifying reality of her husband's actions. In a decision that would later haunt her, Olivia chose to help Ethan conceal evidence of the crime. She meticulously cleaned the car's interior, burned Ethan's bloodstained clothes in their backyard fire pit, and helped construct an alibi that placed them both at home watching a movie during the time of the murder. The discovery of Cassandra's body came the following morning when Wesley, unable to reach his wife by phone, asked a neighbor to check on her. The neighbor's frantic 911 call at 10:17 a.m. marked the beginning of an investigation that would unravel the fabric of Oak Ridge's seemingly perfect community. As news of the murder spread, shock and disbelief rippled through the town. Residents locked their doors, suddenly wary of the neighbors they once trusted implicitly. The local elementary school, where Olivia taught, became a hub of whispered speculations and fearful parents. Initial police interviews painted a picture of Cassandra as a well-liked member of the community with no known enemies. However, as detectives dug deeper, they began to uncover the complex web of relationships that had led to this tragic event. The crime scene told a story of violence and desperation. Blood spatter analysis indicated a struggle that had moved through multiple rooms of the house. The disarray of furniture and personal items spoke to the chaotic nature of the attack. A half-empty glass of wine and an open sketchbook in the living room suggested that Cassandra had been caught off guard, perhaps in a moment of quiet creativity. As the investigation progressed, the idyllic facade of Oak Ridge began to crumble, revealing the dark secrets that had been lurking beneath the surface all along. The murder of Cassandra Hawthorne was not just a crime of passion. It was the culmination of a series of choices that would forever alter the lives of those involved and leave an indelible mark on the once peaceful town of Oak Ridge. As dawn broke over Oak Ridge on October 16th, the quaint New England town found itself thrust into the center of a murder investigation. Detective Sarah Holloway, a seasoned investigator from the state police, took charge of the case, her arrival marking a shift in the sleepy town's atmosphere. The initial sweep of the crime scene yielded crucial evidence. Forensic teams meticulously cataloged blood spatter patterns, collected fingerprints, and gathered fibers. The kitchen knife, discovered in a nearby storm drain, became a focal point of the investigation. Its handle, wiped clean, suggested a deliberate attempt to remove evidence. Interviews with neighbors painted a picture of an idyllic community shaken to its core. Mrs. Eleanor Pruitt, living across the street, recalled hearing a muffled scream around 10 p.m. but had dismissed it as probably just the Thompson kids watching another horror movie. This testimony helped establish a more precise timeline of events. As days passed, Detective Holloway's team delved deeper into the victims' and suspects' lives. Phone records revealed a disturbing pattern. A series of increasingly frantic text messages from Ethan to Cassandra in the weeks leading up to the murder. One message, sent just days before the crime, read, "We need to talk. I can't go on like this. Please." The investigation took an unexpected turn when Amanda Reeves, a barista at the local coffee shop, came forward with crucial information. She reported overhearing a heated argument between Ethan and Cassandra a week before the murder. He seemed desperate Amanda stated in her official testimony. He kept saying something about going back to how things were. Meanwhile, forensic analysis of Ethan's car yielded traces of Cassandra's hair and fibers matching those found at the crime scene, despite attempts to clean the vehicle. This physical evidence placed Ethan at the scene, contradicting his initial alibi of being home with Olivia. As suspicion mounted around Ethan, investigators noticed discrepancies in Olivia's statements. Her initial claim of a quiet night at home began to unravel under scrutiny. Security footage from a gas station 3 miles from their home showed Olivia purchasing cleaning supplies late on the night of the murder, raising questions about her potential involvement in covering up the crime. The breakthrough came when detectives executed a search warrant on the Blackwood residence. In the ashes of their backyard fire pit, forensic experts discovered remnants of fabric and buttons consistent with the clothes Ethan was seen wearing earlier on the day of the murder. Additionally, a thorough search of the house uncovered a hidden journal belonging to Olivia, detailing her growing concerns about Ethan's obsession with Cassandra. As the evidence mounted, the once close-knit community of Oak Ridge found itself divided. Some residents, unable to reconcile the Ethan they knew with the mounting evidence, clung to alternative theories. Others, shocked by the revelations, began to question how well they really knew their neighbors. The investigation also unveiled the complex dynamics between the two couples. Friends and acquaintances, when questioned, revealed hints of tension and jealousy that had been simmering beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect friendships. With each new piece of evidence, the net tightened around Ethan and Olivia Blackwood. What had begun as a shocking murder in a quiet town was evolving into a complex tale of betrayal, obsession, and the lengths to which people might go to protect their secrets. As Detective Holloway prepared to make her move, the residents of Oak Ridge waited with bated breath, knowing that the truth, when fully revealed, would forever change their perception of their idyllic community. The investigation into Cassandra Hawthorne's murder reached its critical turning point on a crisp November morning, exactly 3 weeks after the crime. Detective Sarah Holloway, having meticulously built her case, was prepared to make her move. The quiet streets of Oak Ridge, still reeling from the shock of the murder, were about to witness another seismic shift. At precisely 6:15 a.m., a convoy of unmarked police vehicles silently rolled up to the Blackwood residence. Neighbors, drawn by the commotion, watched from behind curtained windows as officers surrounded the house. Detective Holloway, clipboard in hand, approached the front door with measured steps. Inside, Ethan and Olivia Blackwood were jolted awake by the insistent knocking. As Ethan opened the door, the gravity of the situation became immediately apparent. "Ethan Blackwood, you're under arrest for the murder of Cassandra Hawthorne." Detective Holloway's voice rang out, clear and unwavering. The scene that unfolded was one of controlled chaos. As Ethan was handcuffed and led to a waiting police car, Olivia stood in the doorway, her face a mask of shock and despair. Neighbors gathered on the sidewalk, their whispers creating a low hum of disbelief and speculation. But the morning surprises were far from over. As the primary suspect was being taken into custody, another team of officers began a thorough search of the Blackwood home. It was during this search that the case took an unexpected turn. In a hidden compartment of Olivia's writing desk, officers discovered a small, leather-bound journal. Its pages contained detailed accounts of the events leading up to and following Cassandra's murder. Olivia had meticulously documented her growing concerns about Ethan's obsession, her suspicions about his involvement in the crime, and her own role in the aftermath. One particularly damning entry read, "I can't believe what Ethan has done. The blood on his clothes? I help him burn them. What have I become? This secret is eating me alive." This discovery shifted the focus of the investigation. Olivia Blackwood, initially viewed as a potential witness, now found herself implicated as an accessory after the fact. Within hours, she too was brought in for questioning. The implications of these arrests rippled through Oak Ridge like a shockwave. The town's residents, who had been living in a state of uneasy suspicion, now faced the stark reality that the killers had been living among them, hiding behind a facade of normalcy. Local news stations camped outside the police station, their satellite vans a stark reminder of how Oak Ridge had become the center of a national story. Reporters clamored for statements from law enforcement and neighbors alike, each seeking to piece together the narrative of betrayal and murder that had unfolded in this once peaceful community. As interrogations began, the full extent of the tragedy came into focus. Ethan, confronted with the mounting evidence against him, initially maintained his innocence. However, as Detective Holloway skillfully presented the case piece by piece, the forensic evidence, the eyewitness accounts, and finally, excerpts from Olivia's journal, his resolve began to crumble. In a moment that would be replayed on news channels across the country, Ethan Blackwood confessed to the murder of Cassandra Hawthorne. His voice, barely above a whisper, filled the interrogation room. "I loved her. I couldn't let her go. It wasn't supposed to end like this." Meanwhile, in another room, Olivia faced her own reckoning. Her role in covering up the crime, though born out of misguided loyalty, had made her an accomplice. As she recounted the events of that fateful night, the portrait of a marriage and a friendship destroyed by secrets and obsession came into sharp focus. The arrests and confessions marked a turning point not just in the case, but in the very fabric of Oak Ridge itself. As news spread, the town grappled with the realization that the monsters they had feared were not strangers, but their friends and neighbors. The idyllic veneer of suburban life had been irrevocably shattered, leaving a community to pick up the pieces and question everything they thought they knew about those closest to them. The trial of Ethan and Olivia Blackwood began on a cold January morning, 6 months after the murder of Cassandra Hawthorne. The Oak Ridge County Courthouse, a stately building that had stood for over a century, was now the center of national attention. News vans lined the streets, and journalists from across the country jostled for position on the courthouse steps. Inside the packed courtroom, the air was thick with tension. Wesley Hawthorne, still bearing the weight of his loss, sat stoically in the front row, his eyes never leaving the defendants. The community of Oak Ridge, once united in shock and grief, now found itself divided. Some residents, unable to reconcile the Ethan and Olivia they knew with the crimes they were accused of, attended the trial in a show of support. Others came seeking justice for Cassandra. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Marcus Jennings, presented a compelling case. Forensic evidence, including DNA samples and the murder weapon, painted a clear picture of Ethan's guilt. The recovery of Olivia's journal proved crucial, providing insight into the couple's state of mind and Olivia's role in the cover-up. Defense attorney Samantha Reeves fought hard for her clients, arguing that the partner-swapping arrangement had created a perfect storm of emotional turmoil that led to a crime of passion. She portrayed Ethan as a man driven to the brink by obsession and Olivia as a wife trapped by loyalty and fear. After 3 weeks of testimony, including a heart-wrenching statement from Wesley Hawthorne, the jury reached its verdict. Ethan Blackwood was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Olivia, having cooperated with the authorities and expressed deep remorse, was convicted of accessory after the fact and obstruction of justice. She received a sentence of 15 years, with the possibility of parole after 10. As the gavel fell, sealing the fates of the Blackwoods, a collective exhale seemed to pass through Oak Ridge. The verdict brought closure to a chapter of the town's history that many wished they could forget. In the months that followed, Oak Ridge struggled to return to normalcy. The Hawthorne house, once a crime scene, stood empty, a silent reminder of the tragedy. Wesley, unable to bear the memories, put it up for sale and moved away, seeking a fresh start. The case left an indelible mark on the community. Neighborhood watch programs sprang up, and community meetings focused on fostering open communication and support systems. The elementary school where Olivia had taught implemented new programs on emotional intelligence and conflict resolution, a bittersweet legacy of the tragedy. Detective Sarah Holloway, whose tireless work had brought the case to its conclusion, found herself reflecting on the nature of suburban life and the secrets that can lurk behind closed doors. In an interview with a local paper, she remarked, "This case reminds us that we never truly know what's happening in our neighbors' lives. It's a call for compassion and vigilance in equal measure. The story of the Oak Ridge murder became a cautionary tale, discussed in true crime podcasts and documentaries. It sparked national conversations about the complexities of modern relationships, the dangers of obsession, and the lengths to which people will go to protect their secrets. As the seasons changed and life in Oak Ridge slowly resumed its rhythm, the town was forever changed. The facade of perfection had been shattered, replaced by a more nuanced understanding of human nature and the recognition that even in the most idyllic settings, darkness can take root. 5 years after the shocking murder that shook Oak Ridge to its core, the town had undergone a profound transformation. The quaint New England community, once known for its picture-perfect facade, had evolved into a place of resilience, introspection, and renewed community spirit. On a crisp autumn day, much like the one when Cassandra Hawthorne's life was tragically cut short, Oak Ridge gathered for the unveiling of a memorial garden. The location, once the site of the Hawthorne residence, had been transformed into a serene space dedicated to victims of domestic violence and the importance of community vigilance. Mayor Eleanor Pruitt, the former neighbor who had heard the fateful scream on that terrible night, stood before the assembled crowd. Her voice, steady and resolute, carried across the hushed gathering. Today, we remember not just Cassandra, but the lessons her tragic story taught us. Oak Ridge is no longer a town of secrets. We've learned that true community means looking out for one another, being willing to ask difficult questions, and offering support without judgment. The garden, with its winding paths and carefully chosen flora, stood as a testament to the town's journey. Each plant and structure held significance. Benches for conversation and reflection, a small amphitheater for community discussions, and a central sculpture representing broken chains, a powerful symbol of breaking free from cycles of violence and secrecy. Wesley Hawthorne, making a rare return to Oak Ridge for the occasion, planted a tree in memory of Cassandra. His presence, a reminder of the personal toll of the tragedy, brought tears to many eyes. In a brief, emotion-filled speech, he expressed hope that the garden would serve as a place of healing and education for generations to come. Detective Sarah Holloway, now retired, walked the paths of the garden, her keen eyes taking in the details of this new Oak Ridge. The case that had consumed her had also changed her, deepening her understanding of human nature and the complexities of communal living. She had become an advocate for community policing programs across the state, using Oak Ridge's story as a powerful teaching tool. As twilight descended, candles were lit throughout the garden, their soft glow a poignant reminder of lives affected and lessons learned. The residents of Oak Ridge, standing shoulder to shoulder, represented a community forever changed, but ultimately strengthened by adversity. The story of Ethan and Olivia Blackwood and the tragic fate of Cassandra Hawthorne had become more than just a sensational crime. It had evolved into a cautionary tale about the dangers of obsession, the importance of open communication, and the strength found in genuine community bonds. As the ceremony concluded and people began to disperse, quiet conversations could be heard, neighbors checking in on each other, making plans to meet, offering support. The spirit of the new Oak Ridge was evident in these small, meaningful interactions. The idyllic facade that once defined Oak Ridge had been replaced by something far more valuable. An authentic community, aware of its vulnerabilities, committed to mutual support, and dedicated to fostering an environment where secrets no longer fester in the shadows. As night fell on the memorial garden, the soft lights illuminating the paths seemed to promise a brighter, more transparent future. Oak Ridge had emerged from its darkest chapter with a renewed sense of purpose, its residents united in their determination to build a community where tragedy would find no fertile ground to take root again. The tale of Oak Ridge serves as a powerful reminder that even in the face of unthinkable events, communities have the capacity to heal, learn, and grow stronger together. It stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of truth and compassion in the wake of tragedy. Share your theories in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any case.